Hey, Kevin with Alphatone Audio. Wanted to shoot a quick video today, talk to you guys about cable testers. So got a few different options here that I want to talk about, some of the pros and cons, as well as some other goodies and benefits that you might have here. So let's start out, keep it simple. If you are just testing a basic TS cable, DIY guy, put something together, testing patch cables on your board, that sort of thing. Diodario options can be nice and simple. This runs off a CR2032 battery, I think. I've had this one on my bench. I use it very frequently, and I don't think I've ever changed the battery on it for the last year or two. So no problems there. The great option from Livewire cable tester. It's got a lot of different cable options for you to work with there. My biggest issue with this one, if I'm just doing patch cables, is a lot of those patch cables not going to be able to fit all the way to the other side. So, like I said, there's pros and cons to just about everything. Now, the reason why I wanted to film this video is Nuix actually reached out, sent me this guy. No endorsement or anything. They didn't ask for any sort of sponsorship, and I don't have to say only good things about it. That said, it's a pretty cool product. It's got a lot of good things to it. So as you can see right here, it is able to identify that this is only a tip sleeve mono cable. And if it were to have some sort of short, let's see if I can make it do it. I won't do it with this one. It will sometimes with the DC, but you would just see a red X there in the middle. So for basic cable testing, smaller size, it's still a little tight for a 6-inch cable like this, but it's going to do you better than the Livewire option. Now when I'm working on TRS cables, got to do a quick check for that sort of thing. The Diodario option winds up not being very helpful. It's still going to show the tip in the sleeve, but as you can see with the key on the back here, there's no settings for rings. So it's hard to tell what might be shorting out there, if there's anything that's going to be shorting out there. Same kind of issue with the Livewire. It's still pretty short cable with right angle connectors. I can usually get all the way around, and then you have your 3-pin option there. So the tip, the ring, and the sleeve all reading off of both sides here. Get this out here. Now, on the Nuix option, as you can see there again, it can identify that it is a TRS cable. And then we got our 2 check marks there. This is working as designed. Of course, because I made it. So, there are a couple other cool things that I wanted to talk about with each of these. The Diodario option also has a DS test, or DC test rather, so that I can check power cables for my board as well. I really like this one. Like I said, the battery doesn't require much, and they last a long time. But this is really good for a super quick check, something that a guitarist could throw in the case, just pull it out if you're ever troubleshooting problems with your pedal board. Something good if you're on the road, that sort of thing as well. The Livewire, not going to be helpful for this. There's no DC option. Got a few things that are uncommon, USB, RCA, speak on. Just not going to be helpful when I'm trying to test my power cables. That said, it's another feature on the Nuix. Can run a standard DC cable. Like I said, I can make it fault with the red X there. It's not plugged all the way in, but that's what it's going to look like when you have a problem with your cable. So some of the pros and cons to each of these, if I can talk about it really quickly. Diodario, it will help you if you're competent at reading the key on the back here, help you figure out where you've got a short potentially, or if everything's just running wide open. The Nuix isn't going to give you that level of detail. It's just going to tell you whether the cable is working or not. So if you're really trying to identify the problems, that's not going to be super helpful. And that's another one where the Livewire does give you the amount of detail that you need to identify, say if you're plugging in MIDI, that sort of thing. You can even identify which pin is causing your issue, and that can be really helpful if you are troubleshooting problems in more detail. Say you've got a bench like mine, and you need to dig in, figure out what's going wrong. If you're digging into the MIDI side of things, knowing which pins are potentially crossed over is going to be a big deal. By the way, the cable tester from Livewire runs on a 9-volt battery. Burns a little more quickly if you leave stuff plugged in, especially. There's a lot more going on than the Diodario, so I understand. But what is another benefit of the NUX option, despite only being TS and DC, it does have a rechargeable battery, nothing to replace there, so you just plug it in with USB-C. I like that. I like rechargeable stuff. That definitely saves me some money on batteries. Now, there are a couple extra features with the NUX that you're not going to find on either the Diodario or the Livewire option that I wanted to talk about specifically. Let me get that out of the way. So one thing that I did not expect to be a feature on this, but I was pleasantly surprised to see how much this could do, is you can plug this in. Just plug it straight in with the guitar, use it as a tuner. Say you're a tech that's trying to get an all-in-one sort of situation for your box. Let me move that here. Maybe not as accurate as a Peterson option or as involved as some of the features on the Canvas stuff from Walrus, but definitely a cool feature if you're looking for something that's all-in-one. Need to be able to do a quick check on your pedal board, but need to move quickly into making sure you can tune your guitar, get everything back and ready for the stage, second half of the gig, that sort of thing. The other feature that I didn't expect, that I was pleasantly surprised to find, is this does have a current meter. Voltage meter as well, but I'll show you that now. If I plug in my power here, as you can see, I'm reading right about 9 volts within the range there. And if I grab, let's say my 29 over here, my O-amp, I grab that and plug that in, it's going to tell me what the draw on this particular pedal is. It usually reads about that 150. Throw it active, drops to 125. So I know what this is generally drawing while it's active, while it's in use. That's a really cool feature. It's going to help you plan your pedal board a little bit more. Not all of these guys have a good identifier for what the draw is going to be. 29 specifically says you can kind of plug in whatever to it, but regardless, this is a good way to test that. Similar sort of thing with the, let's say, the spatial delivery here. Same thing, it's drawn right around that. I do have a current meter. This was built off a kit from Pedal PCB. It's pretty quick and easy to put together. It functions exactly the same as the NUX here, except it's only testing the current readout, nothing about the voltage. But voltage not normally as necessary for that. So as you can see there, simple readout, just the 152, and then it drops to 125 when it's active. So similar product. The last thing I wanted to talk about with all of these things is going to be price point. So when I'm looking at the Livewire, which is probably best if you're going to be building anything, you know, outside cables, if you're doing XLR mic cables, you're doing more MIDI work, you need some speak-ons for monitors, that sort of thing. This is going to give you the most flexibility and ability to identify which spot is causing your issues. The NUX and the Diodario, simple options, not really going to be helpful for that. Unsurprisingly, the Diodario, the most simple of these, is going to be the least expensive. I believe those go for $12, $15, something like that. The Livewire is the next best option, and I know there are similar options that are a little more expensive from Hosa and Whirlwind and a couple other brands there. But the live wire option is only 35 to 40 bucks right in there. NUX is a little more expensive, but as I said, you get a little more flexibility. The rechargeable battery, the current meter, and the built-in tuner as well. So that's running, I believe, 45 to 50 usually. And if you're interested in building your own kit here, this pedal PCB current meter was right around $45, plus the time that it takes you to put it all together. It's a very simple build, though. Definitely worth considering if you're trying to make sure that you're powering your pedals appropriately. All right, and I want to thank NUX for sending this out to me. I do like the product overall. I do kind of wish I had some more options like this, but it's always about use case, and I could definitely see someone throwing this in your case. It's only, a little more than twice the size of the Diodario, so this would easily fit in a guitar case for quick grab. It's going to help you identify problems with your patch cables, with your power cables, and I could definitely see a use case with a road tech just mounting this in their box, making sure that they have all these options ready to go, and you have another tuner to reference with as well. So I hope this video was helpful, and I'll see you next time.